What is up, YouTube? This is Cody on the Real Sports Talk, bringing you the pre-race video for Texas. It's going to be our first scheduled night race of the year. I know we already raced one at Daytona, but that was due to rain, so the first scheduled night race of the year. And nationwide race was last night, on Friday night, and Ricky Stenhouse took home that win, his second of the season. And he closes in on that Elliott Sadler's points lead with Austin Dillon, who finished in 5th place in the race. He raced really well, was very competitive. Truck Series champion from last year, rookie in the series this year. He jumped to 3rd place in the standings. And Danica Patrick, who was kind of quiet throughout the race, really. Just ran in the top 20 a lot of the time. On the last stop, took some tires, and one of the last stops, and she ended up finishing in 8th. And she jumped to 11th in points, which is and she jumped 6 spots. So that's a big jump for her. And if she can continue her success there, she looked good tonight. I mean, she was taking it 3 wide up the middle, trying to make some passes. Passed a couple cars at the end. She was looking really good with those fresh tires. And but that has effects sometimes with people when they have fresher tires. So it's not really a big measuring stick there. But a great finish for Danica. And I'd expect her to run well at some other tracks coming up this season. In the upcoming race for tonight, expect to see not so many cautions as we saw in the nationwide race. I wouldn't expect more than maybe 7 in all the laps that they're running in the race. So overall, I would say not to expect too many cautions. And I think there were only like 5 or 6 in the nationwide race. I would say that's about as many as we get in the Cup Series race tomorrow. There's not really that many wrecks at this track. It's a very raceable track. Last night, Casey Kane was saying you can race all around the track, high groove, low groove. You can put your car wherever you want, really, and as long as you don't slip up a little bit, you'll be fine. The track seemed really grippy last night as well. A lot of people not having handling issues. And just a very raceable track. And this is one of the times where we're going to see a faster car possibly emerging. And the faster car is getting out front, not so much the battle of who has the better line. We'll see a lot of separating in this race. Not a lot of side-by-side racing other than restarts, although we will see cars which are better on the long run, as Casey Kane's car was last night in the nationwide race. He raced very well all night, and he ended up taking home a 3rd place finish, I believe. And his car was working really well on the outside. He was up there in position to maybe take the win at the end, but it was just too short of a run for him. His car would come in after they ran a few laps, but by that point, I think it was only like an 11-lap shootout at the end of the race. So Casey Kane couldn't really do much with that. He possibly could have won the race if it was a 20 or 30-lap stint to the end, but obviously it wasn't. Martin Truex Jr. took home the pole here for this race, and he'll be starting on the front row with Matt Kenseth. And that's just another step to show, even though necessarily poles aren't a measuring stick for success, obviously you need the finishes. But Martin Truex Jr. and Michael Waltrip Racing are having a good season, and they're emerging as one of the better teams with the partnership they're having there with Joe Gibbs Racing and with the engines and just the Toyota affiliation with both those teams. That's something that's really working out for Michael Waltrip Racing. Obviously, Joe Gibbs Racing isn't having as great of a season as they would be hoping to have. Kyle Busch is struggling. Joey Logano started off decent. He's now not doing as well, but I expect that to improve and that team to get some wins as we move forward in the season. And as I said, Truex on the pole with Kenseth on the outside pole. And some notables from qualifying, although it's going to take them a little bit to get up there. I think they can get up there and contend for a top 10, top 5 finish, maybe even. Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon, they're going to have a lot of work to do. But like I said, if their cars are hooked up and working, they should have decent time to get up there. Qualifying in 29th and 34th. That's a lot of cars to pass, but they're going to have time to do it, and I'd imagine they'd be faster than a lot of those cars back there in traffic. And some guys that were fast in practice that really caught my eye, were AJ Allmendinger and Greg Biffle. Fast in both practices this weekend, and I'd expect both of them to actually do some damage along with the other Roush cars. I know Carl Edwards is really hungry for a win, with him just coming back from not having so great of a season in that 2-week break. And another guy who I think is actually my pick to win the race is Casey Kane this weekend. He looked very good in the race last night, and I think he's going to do very well tonight. he's had an extra week to prepare for this race at Texas, and he's willing to run that high line and keep his speed up. And I think he is ultimately going to come away with this win in this race. So I think that it's just his time, and I think once Kasey Kahne does get a win, he's going to catapult. He's going to start ripping off some good finishes for the rest of the season. So I think this will really be a catapult race for Kasey Kahne if he gets the win. Once he does get that win, I know he'll be in contention. It's like getting a monkey off of his back with that new ride at Hendrick Motorsports. He feels like he has to do some good things. He's had the cars to do that so far this year, but he hasn't, whether it's been pressure or whatever, he hasn't been able to get the job done. He's had cars definitely capable of winning, but just some issues of overdriving and then playing it safe after overdriving the race car. So Kasey Kahne is really going to be a guy this year that I think is going to contend for the title. So overall, looking forward to a good race tonight. First night race of the year. Big difference from Martinsville, that's for sure. Going from 160, 150 miles an hour to 200 miles an hour at Texas. It's a big difference. So I'm going to enjoy the racing tonight, and I'll either get you a video. I'll have to decide whether I want to do my post-race video after the race tonight, or if I want to wait until Sunday after the Rockingham race the truck race at Rockingham, which is the first race in years run by NASCAR at the Rockingham Speedway. So that's a kind of a historic event there. Kind of cool to see that back on the NASCAR circuit. And enjoy the race, everyone.